So what effect, if any, the use of social media has on dynamic capabilities is my topic. I'm Donna Knowles, and I am happy to be sharing this with you. And in this overview, I'm going to next identify some gaps in current literature. I'll discuss the proposed theoretical framework. I'll explain the limitations of the existing theories, introduce my proposed timeline just briefly, and then I'm going to summarize. And what we find from the gaps in the literature is that in the aspect of dynamic capabilities, the capability is that an organization purposefully creates, extends, and modifies its resource base, and that's the value, and it addresses the overarching concept of dynamic capabilities. And there isn't any known resource that has explored this value that the extant resource has to allow the firm to maintain or enhance its competitive advantage, and I'm going to do this. And the next one is Technology Acceptance Model, or TAM for short. It predicts individual adoption and use of new information technology in the workplace. And the gap in this is that the various iterations of TAM, there are 3 of them, they don't link results demonstrability and facilitating conditions with the dynamic capabilities. And my research is going to do this. And the last area is social media. And it is basically the use of web-based or mobile technologies to turn communication into an interactive device. And there is no current literature that examines the link between social media matrix and the desired business objectives, so that a person knows that their business objectives are being realized. And my proposal will do this. And this is the overarching theoretical framework. And the area that's in the light color, it is the overlap of the 3 broad areas. But my research will focus only on the little area that overlaps. And my theory, the acronym is MISMU, the Model of Individual Social Media Use. And the Organizational Dynamic Capabilities Model is what you're looking at now. And in the red, you see the AC, which is absorptive capacity. To that we add RD, results demonstrability, plus FC, which is facilitating conditions, and those 3 equal social media use by the individual manager. I'll conduct interviews, and the combination of AC plus RD plus FC equals SMU, and the interviews, it will tell me what the organizational dynamic capability measure is. This research diagram is what this broken down is. So you see absorptive capacity, there's a column with constructs in it, results demonstrability with constructs in that, facilitating conditions with constructs in that, and each one of those constructs will get measured via survey. And then in the end, the effective social media use is SMU, and it's what you see at the very end, SMU being measured by the individual, or of the individual manager. Now this is one iteration of the Technology Acceptance Model by Davis. This is the second one. This is TAM2, and it expands a bit from TAM1. And this is a Technology Acceptance Model TAM3. And each one of these have elements that are in my proposed research diagram. If you notice, there is an element in absorptive capacity, which is endogenous agility, and from results demonstrability we have elements and so forth. My methodology will be a mixed methodology for robustness, for rigor, and to make it so that many industries can use this model. And the contributions are that it will address the use of social media at the individual managerial level and the performance growth at the firm level, and what effect this has on the internal and external dynamics of the environment. And no research to this point has done this. And it will be comparing the strategic use of innovation technology to the strategic business objectives of the firm to see if the 2 match up, and if not, where are the gaps. And this will be valuable for the business because every firm wants to know if their business objectives are being attained in the strategic business projection. And the business contributions will be that the final one is that again, it will be useful for business. The theoretical contributions consist of, there are a few studies that have done this, but none of them have done it addressing new social media affecting industry. I'm going to link social media matrix and the desired business objectives. No previous study has done that. The gaps in the conceptual and the empirical research are identified. I've mapped them out for you, and the areas are absorptive capacity, results demonstrability, and facilitating conditions, and they result in the measure of social media's effect. And there is potential for this research to be published. It is an ambitious plan, but all plans that are good, many of them are ambitious, and I am an ambitious person. It'll be a longitudinal study on 2 continents, America and Europe. I'm going to be persistent. I know that managers are busy people, but this is a valuable project. It's worthwhile research, and it's very useful that the demand is high in industry now. My timeline is as such, and I've got the ability to do this in early spring of this year as well as later in the summertime of 2013, and this is when it will be conducted. So the conclusions are that gaps do exist in dynamic capabilities in the area of social media and the iterations of TAM. They do provide something, but they all have their limits. And so my solution is to test at the individual level the measure of absorptive capacity, the measure of results demonstrability, similarly with facilitating conditions from TAM, and see if these close the gap. And the framework is MISMU. I'm going to interview, I'll conduct online surveys, I will do observation through the longitudinal study and then the case study. And the purpose is to determine at the individual level the use of social media, if it leads to performance growth at the firm level, and the effect this has on the internal business environment as well as the external environment. And the intention is to contribute an original study to the academic area. Thank you for your inviting me here today. I've enjoyed meeting you and sharing with you my topic, and I'll see you when I come to talk with you for real about this project.